New tonight at 11, Shelby County School Superintendent writes a community letter to explain why leaders chose to reach a settlement with an ex-basketball coach and teacher accused of sexual misconduct who is actively being investigated by Kentucky State Police. As CPS says, it had fired Chris Gaither earlier after a former student made her allegations against him public. We later learned Gaither and the district settled, and while he agreed to keep the terms confidential, our open records request led us to having a copy shared of the deal and the terms inside it. Some of those conditions included that Gaither give his resignation effective June 30th and that the district pay him his salary through the date. The district's insurance company would also pay Gaither $5,000 and he would be blocked from applying for a district job in the future. Here is just part of Dr. Josh Matthews' community letter. Quote, although I cannot discuss personal matters, a local settlement was the only way for the district to guarantee the immediate and permanent separation from the certified employee. He goes on to say, remember, if the tribunal overturns a superintendent's decision, the employee is immediately reinstated. Additionally, the district or its insurer is responsible for the cost of the tribunal in addition to legal fees. You can read Matthews' full statement and our fullest reporting that we have updated on wave3.com.